We're here today to talk about the autumn budget delivered today by Rachel Reeves. Rachel talked a lot about the impact on working people, but what is the impact on corporates?
So I guess by far the biggest impact, as expected and as leaked in the lead up to the budget, it's the cost of employment. And it's almost a double whammy, because not only did the employers' national insurance contributions rose to 15%, but the threshold to which it applies on earnings has reduced to £5,000. And also there is obviously an increase in national minimum wage as well. All of that will have by far the biggest impact on corporates that we work with.
So taking a look at the employer's national insurance, which is an additional cost on employing people, what was the what was the increase today?
So it was 1.2%, so from 13.8% to 15%. And as I say, the threshold has reduced as well. So for people earning more than £5,000, that's when the national insurance will apply.
And I think our initial calculations were that might increase the total costs of employers' national insurance by around 25%.
Yeah, for people earning more than £36,000 a year, that's on average the cost that each employer will suffer, which is quite significant and will add up.
Yeah, and I guess the point is that that's a real cost for employers, businesses.
Exactly, and the whole positioning for the budget and for the new government was that they're looking to invest into economy and grow the economy. So there is a question whether that will have a bit of a undesired effect of slowing it down, because businesses will be faced with increased bills. So they'll have to consider, do they pass it on to their customers, clients? Do they pass it on to their employees? And if they don't, do they not invest? Do they reduce their own growth plans, or do they not enter a market? So it remains to be seen, but businesses will be busy trying to calculate the potential impact on the revenues, on the profits that they have.
I guess there's no getting away from the fact that it's an additional cost that can only really be dealt with in two ways, which is either pay your employees less, employ less people, that kind of impact, which doesn't seem to be a growth.
Again, growth. You'd expect a growth in jobs that people are taking up, but that will clearly have at least a short-term impact on vacancies, because employers will be carefully considering, do they have enough money to employ somebody? Do they really need that person? And
subject to them absorbing that cost, which is unlikely, it's either that or it's increase in prices, inflation, etc. Neither of which are.
Or reducing the pay rises that they give to their current employees. But there's clear shortage of skilled workers, specifically in the UK. So businesses will want to keep skilled, talented people, and I think they will do whatever they can to keep those people. And so, again, it remains to be seen how it will sort of play out in the field. But there will be lots of.
So are there any positives also that on the other, looking at the other end?
Well, I guess positives, unlike in the private client sort of sector, nothing's really changed from corporate tax perspective. So the main corporate tax rate remained at 25%. There is marginal rate that's also remained. That's not changing, not until the end of this government. They've also maintained the R&D relief. No further changes were announced. Thank goodness for that, because we had a lot of change in the R&D schemes recently. So that's probably a welcome relief, to be honest. Also no changes to capital allowance regime or annual investment allowance, which still remains at 1 million. And there was specific mention of, wanting to invest into green energy, so to speak, into green cars, into charge points, etc., which is great, which is welcome.
And I think there was talk, and there was talk at the election time also of a roadmap for corporation tax, and I think we got that further mentioned today, a tiny bit more detail, but not yet very much more detail. We did, and it's very welcome, because that was one of the main sort of feedback points from businesses, that it would be good to have clarity and stability in terms of how can we plan in terms of tax system, because things just get announced out of the blue. It's really difficult to make long-term business decisions, so that's very welcome. And I guess the fact that they maintained the rates, just as outlined a minute ago, at the same level, or pledged to maintain them for the next few years, gives that sort of stability and clarity. Another big announcement in respect of the roadmap is
really to do with customer service, HMRC customer service, and modernizing the whole tax collection system. And they are going to hold a consultation and announce the outcome of that consultation next spring, spring 25. But essentially the aim is to try and improve it. So currently we know that businesses struggle to get hold of anyone at HMRC. That leads to all sorts of misunderstandings, inquiries going on for months on end. So more staff, hopefully, will help improve that. Actually implementing IT systems that simplify the work or automate some of the work will improve that as well. And I think it will also be interesting to hear from stakeholders themselves what other suggestions they might have in terms of how they would see it as an improvement and what can be changed by the government to make that a big change for them.
And while not directly influencing corporates and not having an impact on corporates, there are also changes to capital gains tax and inheritance tax, which will have an impact on the owners and shareholders of those businesses.
Yes. That's a little controversial, isn't it? Again, coming back to the point that government pledged to invest in economic growth. And a lot of the businesses, 95% of businesses are small, medium, founder, entrepreneurial businesses. That will have a massive knock-on impact on their decision making in terms of when they are exiting potentially, whether they will set up at all. I know the rates hadn't increased massively, so the lower CGT rate increased from 10 to 18%, the higher from 20 to 24, but it will still have an impact on the businesses. I guess also they will be taken or affected by the increases in employers' national insurance rises as well. So they have almost like a double hit. And it will be interesting to see whether, well, undoubtedly it will slow that down, but to what extent? We'll have to watch and see, I guess.
I mean, I guess we were talking earlier, and I guess we concluded that while there was a lot that was trialled beforehand, we heard a lot of what was coming, and we knew that there was going to be 40 billion raised, and we kind of thought maybe it could have been worse on corporates actually. So overall, perhaps after the end of the day, owners and businesses might be thinking, it wasn't quite so bad as maybe we thought it might be, because there was. I think one of the things I liked particularly was there wasn't much change, which in a way is a good thing. People like consistency and solidity that brings. Thanks, Evelina. And if you'd like more information about the budget, please visit our website.